Welcome back, everybody, to another lockdown film club. So last time, Wayne, you picked Powell and Pressburger's kind of unusual war film, 49th Parallel, which all takes place in Canada. So I've gone for a very simple link. I've chosen another film set in Canada, The Sweet Hereafter, which came out in 1997, written and directed by Atom Egoyan. So really, for me, this was just a sort of another example of me using Lockdown Film Club as an opportunity to see a film that has been on my watch list for many years. Very acclaimed film. I've never actually seen a single Atom Egoyan film. So yeah, that's why I picked it. So shall I just sort of talk a little bit about the film and then dare I ask you what you thought of it?
Yeah, it's best probably if you talk about the film.
Okay, right. So for those watching, we have not yet discussed the film at all, not even text. So, like I said, so this is a very, very incredibly acclaimed film. So, Exotica, which came out in 1994, was probably I think Atom Egoyan's sort of like breakthrough films, but this is the one that he's most well known for. He was Oscar nominated, Best Director, Best Screenplay. He won the Grand Jury Prize at Cannes for the film.
Really?
Yep. I was worried a little bit that this sort of subject matter might be a bit too grim, kind of for the times that we are living in. But I watched it last week. It's really stuck with me, and I think everyone should watch it. But yeah, the story, it's about the aftermath of a bus crash that kills 14 school children in a small town. So yeah, upbeat subject matter, told in non-linear fashion.
Very non-linear fashion.
But I think very easy to understand still. Adapted from a novel by Russell Banks, the American novelist. Have you read any of his work?
No,
Wayne?
no. I just know the name.
So he also wrote Affliction, which if you've seen the Paul Schrader film.
No.
Nick Nolte. So it's a really good film. So that's adapted by Paul. That also came out in 1997.
And that was Paul Schrader.
Paul Schrader directed and adapted it. Yep.
The troubled
Paul Schrader. Yes, if you want some entertainment or not, look at Paul Schrader on Facebook. So yeah, so the novel takes place in New Hampshire, but Egoyan relocated it so he could get funding from Canada, Canada Film Board.
Have you read the book?
I've not read the book. I've not read any of his books. Although Russell Banks said, which you'll love this. Russell Banks thought it improved upon the book, the film. So
oh God,
I suspect you won't be reading that. Stars Ian Holm as a lawyer who wants to kind of pursue a class action case on behalf of the survivors and the parents in the town. Sarah Polley, probably the next best known person in the cast. Bruce Greenwood, who probably we last saw at Film Club. He's Mr. Jones in I'm Not There, in the sort of that sequence of the Bob Dylan film.
The interviewer.
Yeah, who then Kate Blanchett sort of stalks.
Yeah, and who does he play in The Sweet Hereafter?
He is the guy who follows the bus.
Yeah. I thought I recognised him.
But yeah, a lot younger. Maury Chaikin, who's the motel owner, familiar face, kind of one of those sort of like, oh yeah, I really recognise him. What's he been in? And then you sort of like see he's been in like My Cousin Vinny and bit parts in lots of other stuff. So yeah, I don't really have much more to say about it in terms of sort of like the production, but it has really stuck with me, and I think it's just full of really memorable scenes. So which maybe I'll be interested in your response to, possibly not, but I think Ian Holm is in lots of brilliant scenes in it. But clearly, I don't know, it's grief, revenge, family burdens, all of these big themes. But clearly, I suspect it did not resonate with you, Wayne. Let's get to it.
It didn't. I thought it was okay. I thought it was all right. I just found it a bit. I mean, I'm sure that's the point. It's meant to be subdued, but I found it subdued to the point of so what, almost.
Okay.
Um, I did the thing I wrote down when it started. I wrote down Fargo. It really
Yes,
reminded
I
me of
also wrote that.
Fargo
I also wrote down
at
Fargo
the
when I
start.
finished,
Yeah,
and the score as well.
yeah, exactly. The music with the white landscape, and I checked, and this came out after a year after Fargo, so it's probably just coincidence.
No, I thought.
I assumed that Fargo had borrowed
Yeah.
from this as genius stills. Yeah, Ian Holm I thought was good. Sarah, well, he's good. He was good. He wasn't doing much. Sarah Polly,
Holly, yes.
yeah, she was very good.
Yep.
Um, I just found the non-linear stuff. I found a little confusing at the start.
I think it works really well as a non-linear thing because like you're not sort of like waiting for the bus crash. You know that there's not this sort of like,
Yeah,
you're not waiting for the bus crash. And I think the sort of the fact that Ian Holmes, there's without wanting to spoil things, Ian Holm is carrying kind of his own sort of burden as well. And I think the way that for instance, there's a really brilliant scene where he goes to meet two of the parents who's lost their adopted son. Um,
yeah, that
and
seems great.
that scene is brilliant. And that comes, not too long after you're introduced to those characters,
Mm,
you then hear what some other characters think of those characters. They're sort of like dismissed as hippies, and I think I personally think the way that it's structured works really well. And similarly, there's a scene on the plane with Ian Holm where he I could see a bit overwrought and possibly a bit
yeah,
over
I mean
but
that scene. I wasn't sure where that scene was meant to be in the narrative, and that I spent too long trying to work out where this is. Is this before he's been to the town, or is it after? And I thought that scene overwrought. I don't know if I'd go so far as say it's overwrought, but maybe that's the scene where I thought is in a book I can imagine this working, but in the film perhaps it could have been left out because
yeah.
it's um
Well, I would encourage people not to dwell too much on the non-linear narrative and let it kind of
yeah, I
wash
didn't
over
mind
them.
that. I didn't mind the non-linear narrative later on in the film. I just thought it was quite clumsy at the start when he's
Right.
trapped in the car wash, trapped
Yes.
in a metaphor.
Yes.
And then it cuts away to something, and you think, okay, we're somewhere else now. And then it cuts back
Yeah.
to him still in the car wash, and I don't know, just that kind of threw me a bit. What else did I write down? That I think that was all I wrote down. Sarah
In the
Poland.
scene, in the scene where she gives her testimony, which is another great scene.
Yeah, that is good.
I've never seen thing that I wrote down. I've never seen anybody wear a stenographer's mask before. Have you ever seen that before? That the stenographer wearing this sort of bizarre
No.
appendage where they're sort of speaking. Yeah, well, that's a stenographer's mask which records the voice, so the person can dictate without distracting the lawyers or the people
Okay.
giving their testimony.
No, sorry, Nigel.
Well, no. Look, to be honest,
It did not grab me.
I am not. That does not surprise me. I'm not sure this is why these double headers videos have made me a little bit nervous, given that our point here is trying to encourage people to watch films. But when we can at least see whether people watch it and they can see whether they agree more with you or with me.
But I have got the film I'm going to choose next, which I will not. I'll say for off air.
Okay.
Can
you tell us the theme? The link?
Well, I just say this: you may not dislike it, but you may find it as disappointing as I found, as I perhaps found the Sweet Hereafter.
I cannot wait.
As may do many of the viewers, or say many of the viewers. If we've got many viewers, I don't know if we have or not. But
so you're basically saying that your next film you're expecting to be unpopular across the board?
No, not unpopular, but it's just not a stone cold classic or a top tier by a certain director.
Okay.
Maybe we should just pick good films.
Well, I think this is a good film, which is why I picked it.
You know what I thought it was going to go, because I didn't know anything about. I mean, I'd seen the trailer. I remember seeing the trailer when it came out at the cinema and thinking,
Yeah.
this is the last film I want to go and see. A
Right.
kids crashing into a lake.
Yeah.
And from the title, and I didn't do any sort of reading up on it. I just got it and watched it. And from the title and the in-home character, because he's so withdrawn and he's barely there really. And I know that's the point. But I thought he was going to turn into some sort of supernatural
Oh, wow.
being, kind of like a Inspector Calls type character. And maybe that's why I was a little disappointed.
You were hoping for what you were hoping for a bigger twist.
I was heading that way
Right.
in my head. I thought he's going to be this. He's going to turn into Alistair Sims in a minute.
Well, look, I enjoyed it. I think it's a great film. I'm glad that I actually used this opportunity to actually watch it, because like I said, I've been wanting to watch it for a long time. So let's finish there. Luckily, I mean, this has been a mercifully short video, so people can be grateful for that. And I look forward to, as soon as I stop recording this, hearing what your film is. Okay.
One last thing. Sarah Polley's dad reminded me of I've forgotten his name now. The Room.
Oh yes.
Tommy Wiseau.
Tommy Wiseau. Yes, I thought you were talking about Sarah Polley's actual dad, who is a subject of a very good documentary, which you also were not keen on, I think, called Stories We Tell.
Who was that by?
Sarah Polley.
Oh, okay.
We'll talk about that separately. That's a great film. If you've not seen Stories We Tell, check it out.
That's a documentary.
It's a documentary about her actual dad.
Ah, intriguing.
Right.
What's her dad do then? Say that, because you never know. Some people may watch.
He's an actor, a British-born actor. Okay, everybody, very well.
Yes. Sorry, Nigel.